What do you study?
I study law at the University of Cambridge and I'm in my final year.
I'm the same.
What's your best advice for getting into Cambridge University?
I think it's probably to know who's interviewing you, read around what they're interested in, and then make your answers something that stands out. So make sure you know a lot about why you want to be here and what's really driven you to apply.
Yeah, I think really sort of exploring your subject in a lot of detail is really important, and focusing on the things that you find really interesting, not necessarily what you think is going to be the most impressive, but if you're interested in sports law, exploring sports law, not just like what's big in the news at the moment.
I study classics at the University of Cambridge. I'm in third year.
How to get into Cambridge University?
I would say critical thinking.
I think what made me stand out was more the fact that I'd read so much about the subject, but not typical books that you see on every application. So I'd gone to the library and picked random books off the shelf that they might not see every day on the applications.
I study linguistics at Cambridge University. At first year, I'm a freshman. I would say be as enthusiastic about your subject as you can be. Like show the interviews and the personal statement that you love your subject and that you want to study it for 3 full years, and that it is the degree you want to do and what you would like to do in your life.
Just when they ask you questions at the interview, really don't just give the first thing that's on your mind. Kind of take a moment to think what they're trying to get at.
I do history of art. I'm in my second year at Cambridge University. Just read widely. If you're doing art history, go to lots of exhibitions, basically.
What stood out in your application?
A lot of reading. I think reading is the main thing to do. And mention that reading and mention your thoughts and opinions on that reading and maybe your own theories as well.
Well, I was just talking about a book that I actually read that book to apply here, and I think like they could tell I was really interested in it. So all your reading should be of genuine interest.
So, what do you study?
So I'm a third year student at the University of Cambridge. I do biological science.
I'm first year theology at Cambridge University.
The best advice I can give you is to just be passionate about your subject. They're not really looking for detailed niche knowledge. You don't have to read loads of books. You just have to have a genuine interest and passion for what you want to study. Show that you're keen and that you want to learn more about this area. That's what they're actually looking for in the interviews.
To get into Cambridge, it's being yourself and not conforming to a formula that they think you'll want. And actually, if you do get to interview, I think see it as a chat, see it as something talking about what you're interested in, and not them testing you, because they're not interested in that.
I'm in my final year studying French and German at Cambridge. My best advice would be to read stuff that interests you, not just what's on the syllabus or what you did at school. Just read around the subject.
Yes, okay, so the things that I remember most vividly were in the sort of the days before the interview process. You do like a test and then you do the interview. You have to make sure that you are revising the content that you're doing in school, because they tailor the questions that they ask you. They know that you haven't done any degree stuff, so you have to be absolutely rock solid on the content that you're taught. When you're 16, 17 before you apply, that sort of content is what you're actually going to be asked questions on, rather than this higher level stuff. So make sure that you are so solid on that stuff, and then show your interest and why you're so passionate about it through that.
It's unconventional. I think anyone I expected to get in didn't, and everyone I expected not to did. The application process is a mystery, but it's, I think, down to they like someone that stands out. I don't have very good GCSEs. I'm not from a private school. They're not bothered about the things you might think they're bothered about. It's just they like someone with character and with ambition, and something, with a passion, really.
Having practice interviews, even if it's just with family members, it doesn't have to be anyone who knows anything about the subject, but just getting used to answering questions, because lots of people have never done that before.
I study architecture at the University of Cambridge. I'm first year currently.
History of art at Cambridge University. I'm in first year. So I study maths here at Cambridge. Yeah, I'm first year.
My best advice would be to enjoy the process, because when you enjoy the process, you put more effort into it and you kind of get into grips with the subject you're going to be studying.
So I think for me it was just reading around the subject and reading with a critical eye. And so all of the text that you read, if you can evaluate what might be missing from them, because if you talk about that in your interview, it's something they really they find really interesting.
and it shows that you can like read a text with and like engage with the text more than just like looking at it passively.
I would say always just asking questions at school and not accepting anything that you're told. It really helps you kind of get a deep understanding for the subject, and also when you come to interview you'll be ready to kind of show that you're interested and not just taking on board everything your teacher tells you.
So by kind of reading about what you enjoy, watching videos about what you enjoy, listening to podcasts about what you enjoy, documentaries and all that sort of stuff are things I highly recommend, because it'll just make your interview a lot more interesting. And when you have an interesting interview, that kind of helps a little bit, but it also makes your personal statement a lot richer as well. So just really enjoy the process and get stuck in.
I mean, I also, because I'm doing art history, I also have a hobby and I paint a lot, which is helpful. So if you have something that's like outside of the subject grounds that shows you're not just academically committed, but you can do something else that's individual. So like for me, painting was quite helpful for my degree as well, but it's different and it's creative and it shows another set of skills.
So I'm applying for maths, and maybe my application was more broad than other people's in that I'm interested in its applications in biology and kind of a broader scientific area than just say physics, which might be the kind of classic things that people are going for.
I study philosophy of religion at the University of Cambridge. It's a master's student.
So I'm a finalist studying geography at Cambridge.
I am in my third year of studying economics at the University of Cambridge.
Probably first, obviously, having good grades. I guess try and advertise yourself to the degree to which you fit in within the department which you're interested in, what they're interested in.
And I think my advice would be just read like what you're interested in, because that's what they're gonna pick up on in your personal statement and also in your interview. If you're just actually passionate about things, and like they don't have to even be things that are 100% related to your course.
Read what they're interested in and then see basically how your own interests kind of match theirs and to what degree you would fit in the department as a whole. So for me, obviously, I was interested in specifically like philosophy of religion, which is quite different to other religion departments. So I basically advertise myself as like a philosopher.
I think my best advice is to just be yourself and show genuine interest in your subject, and just don't compare yourself to anybody else, and know that sort of if you're going to get in, you're going to get in, and it's all about the way you think and thinking deeper. So yeah, having a genuine love for your subject and applying for the right thing is the only way you're really going to be able to do that. So yeah, just make sure you're applying for something that you're really passionate about and be yourself. That's all you can really do.
And for example, like in your case, is there something that you think that really stood out, that gave you an advantage over others?
Yeah, I read this book about development, and it was kind of like just a completely different way of thinking about things to what I've been taught in school. And I think just like, I didn't really even understand it that well compared to how I would now, but just showing that like I tried to go after something that actually was challenging was a really big thing for me. Yeah.
Just my genuine interest and the amount of like background reading I'd done on the subject, and I'd sort of tried to take it a bit further than say what I'd been taught in school, and did just genuinely look into particular aspects of economics that I did really enjoy, which made it pretty easy to talk about in interview, and just obviously try to be as confident as possible really, and know you are there for a reason. They have given you the chance to apply, have an interview because they think that you are worthy, and you just got to believe in yourself. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No worries.